Okay, this is our this is our first attempt of a race report, and that was quite a race.
It's been about 8 days. It's taken 8 days for many things.
Everything to settle down in
Yeah.
my brain, but yeah. I'm Renee.
I'm Lisa Marie.
We are ultra runners. Been ultra running for what, 6 years now?
Remember that later on, okay?
Yeah.
Remember he said 6 years. There will be an incidence on this race that you're going to be like, really, Renee, it has been 8 years and this has not happened.
Okay, so we're going to use the same format as our interviews. We're skipping a few steps, but that's it. So let's start with our. Do we need to mention the race now?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's already an introduction.
Yeah,
So.
well, we don't mention these things.
People already know. So we're just going to talk about the results, and then we're going to go through all the fun stuff afterwards.
Yes.
So we went out very ambitious. We said it's 100K, 60 miles, 13 to 15 hours. Because, yeah, it's even though it's in Kansas, it's not necessarily flat.
Yeah.
So.
But first, we should go to the top of this list and talk about how much travel it took to get there.
Oh, good God. Okay, so we spent 23 hours.
It's a long time with cats in a camper.
Right. And to get there and back was 35 hours. So we have a terrible score. It's 0.39, which means we spend under 40% of the time actually running this race.
Yep.
60 miles, sorry, 100K. So like I said, our goal time was between 13 and 15, so we set it at 14. Our finishing time was 23 hours.
Very important.
Very important. And 45 seconds. The time limit was 24 hours. So
there is a reason for this.
That's a very good reason for this. But our performance didn't even register. It's a 10,000th of one. It's 0.0001. That's a terrible performance.
F minus.
Our ambitions was very high. I mean, we had a 0.9 ambition because we thought we could run this faster than we did.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to go break a race record. Even though we ran a 200 miler a week before.
2 weeks before.
2 weeks before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on, it's flat. We've already said the name. It's called FlatRock. I mean, flat rock. So just the first thing I want to say is everyone should read the race manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, with the race manual, oh yeah, okay. We'll go with that later.
And we have an aggressive score of 0.09 because we apparently got too close to the time limit. So this is low. So our overall return on investment on this one was 0.244, which is one of the lowest scores I've seen. It's all good.
It's all good. We have the chance to make it up now, so let's see what we can do here.
So let's go to the 8 stations.
10.
Absolutely, I agree. 10.
Yes, 10. Though you had a complaint.
I did have one complaint, but it's not a complaint that is going to drag down the score. So there was too much bacon, and I have tiny hands, and I could not have all the bacon I wanted in my tiny hands.
You look like a child with this bacon, like lollipops in a candy store.
Popsicles. Yeah, that was one complaint, and we'll get to the other complaint later. But 8 stations were great.
Yes, one of them had
awesome.
Yeah, gourmet grilled cheese. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. Literally. I have 2 big hands, so.
That's a nice bacon. I just want to say that. Okay, so the fun factor.
10,
Oh, absolutely a 10.
easily a 10.
Absolutely a 10.
But we'll come back to that
Oh
later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good trail.
Yeah.
It's a challenging trail. It's very technical in many places. It has some tricky crossings here and there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily water, but just
We'll get to that later.
yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, there are some tricky parts on the on this little trail that doesn't get easier when it gets dark. Let's that's fair to say. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I've never had so much fun. Hopefully that reflected in my smile when I crossed the finish line. That I was I was excited. Um, Trail markings.
You gave it a
I
9.
give it a 9. Um,
Okay, this is where I have something to say. So everyone knows I fall. I do. It's just part of. I'm an ultra runner. I'm a trail runner. I'm going to fall. So I was told, well, Lisa Marie, just don't look up, look down. Okay, just I'll look down because they didn't want me to fall. So I'm very good at doing what I'm told. Very, very good at this. Look down. But the markers are up here in little blue dots. And so I felt bad because I had people following me like I knew what I was doing. I'd never been to this place in my life. I just was doing my own thing.
yeah,
And you had to climb rocks. This was a mountain climbing kind of deal.
yeah. There were some places where the trail veered off, and you had to climb rocks instead of following what you thought was the trail straight ahead. The official trail actually is, oh, you have to climb these rocks to get up to the next section of the trail. So the blue markings are not reflective at night, so you really have to watch it with your headlamp. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. And maybe we should mention that this is 15 miles out and 15 miles back.
Right.
And you do that twice for the 100K. Um, so it's about 30 plus miles,
Yeah.
60 plus miles at the end. So it's so you would think that we knew the fourth time or the second time on the way back, but when you're tired and it's dark, things get weird. Okay, weather.
10.
I give it a 2, so we compromised on a 6.
We've been arguing about this. It was a 10. Okay, I will take this one. So, okay, I want to just go on record saying that my background is emergency services. So I should know that in April in Kansas, there's tornadoes, there's winds, there's flooding. And you imagine it, it should be there, right? I didn't read the race manual. So, and I didn't, if I had, I still wouldn't have clicked. It was, this race is generally done that I know is in September. So it's dry. So when the weather reports started coming in and saying flood warning, 3 to 5 inches, I call BS. That was 5 to 7 inches. And you know what? It was fun. It was so much fun. There was like mud. We had to hold on to the sides of the hills or fall down the long way. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff, but more about that later.
Yeah. Oh, say on the last 10 miles when we left the 10-mile aid station, um, race director Brian said, "Oh, don't worry about the thunderstorm. There's no cloud to ground lightning." Well, 2 miles later, there was cloud to ground.
We all know that Renee is Danish, and if you don't, they have their little, Marvel gods over there, and it was like Thor said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. Well, I didn't even say anything to upset Thor. I just want
this doing this to the sky.
I did not do
you
that.
did that. Oh, what was that?
No.
They're
But
making
anyways,
animal puppets. And
2 miles out of the aid station, thunderstorm, lightning galore, and we had a few miles of exposed sections, and yeah, the lightnings got pretty close, but we never stopped. We just trotted on and
oh, it was great. The
pretended we
water
got
was
covered
up to my
under the
hips, and
trees.
I was getting soaked, and I had a rain jacket. And it was
Yeah.
going underneath, but more about that later.
So basically, the weather is why I give it a 2 because of the
10.
thunderstorm, and she
10.
gave it 10 because she thinks that's fun,
Oh, a lot of fun.
even though she was the most scared one in the lightning.
Well, I did have a come to Jesus moment. It did. It did. And it was Easter, so my prayers were very, very
Yeah.
uplifting.
All right. Pacers, we had none.
None.
Crew, we had none.
Mm-mm.
Blisters and chafing and other
None.
things. Well, we had trench foot.
Trench foot. I forgot about the trench foot.
Yeah.
Yes, it was nasty. I was trying to forget about that.
We basically ran 9 hours through water.
I am so big on changing my socks because he's been pulled from a race before from not changing his socks and having nasty trench foot.
The thing is, we could change our socks.
Yeah.
And not even 10 minutes later, you'll be in another puddle. There'll be another flooded trail, and you'll just be wet again.
Yeah, so we didn't do it. I don't think any runner did it. Oh, and to back up to the weather, I just forgot to say this. Pre-race, there was a man standing there. He was saying, you've seen the pictures of this race up to your shoulders, and people are walking. The girl was short, and it had been raining for a week, and that's why it was up. Oh, no, honey. That's when God said, hold my beer, because that water rose fast.
That's every little creek we crossed by tiptoeing over rocks. They were now waist high in water, and it was rushing down fast. Lose your footing, and you might very well be dragged down this little thing. It was now a river, a raging river. But we managed to get through.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
but again, more on that later.
But with trench foot. Yep. So it was fine.
It went away quickly.
Yeah. Trail nap comfort. Oh, I had one fall, and it wasn't really a particular bad one. Just hit a rock in the middle of the road because I was looking for lightning.
And not looking at the ground like you were told.
Looking at the ground as I was been told. So I fell down, but my personal trainer has been giving me a lot of burpees. So up comes the arms, and I was back on my feet in no time. No teeth broken.
No teeth broken. But he did have kind of a little issue. It was so cute. He kind of slipped in the mud, and he did a yoga pose. So it was like half moon. He had his toes in the air, and it was just so perfect. I mean, I wish I got a picture of that. It was cute.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. Okay, speaking of trail naps or falls, you had a falls ground.
Okay, so the water is rising. It is raining so hard. I mean, you couldn't see in front of you. The lightning, and again, the water is rising. The mud is this thick, and I just was like, I just need to get out of this water and get onto land. And I see dry land, and I'm like, okay, there it is, the other side. And I put my foot up as I'm hearing the words going, no, ha 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 ha, no, coming from Renee. Doesn't know whether to laugh or to. He's not even, I don't know who he thought he was, my husband, or if he was my running partner, but
both. So the river has been driving down a lot of branches. They were kind of piling up, and so was all the leaves from fall. and I could just see that piled up, and I'm just, okay, we're just going to walk through it. And she says, oh, the land is just over there. And before I could say, no, that's not land, she was 2 steps out in the water, lifted her leg high, and stepped up on the leaves, and her
which
foot,
I thought was a rock.
Which she thought was a rock, and the foot just went straight through, and under the water she went.
And I thought it was funny too. I mean, everything that was dry underneath, I was so toasty warm, but now I'm soaking wet, and my hydration was all wet. Yeah. And but fun. You know what? It was fun. I loved it. I'm a trail runner. I don't mind getting dirty. I am not sensitive to all that. I could take a shower.
Yeah, that was all good.
Yeah, and I didn't break any teeth.
No. Mental state? I give it a 9.
I would say a 9.
Yeah.
I think the only time the mental state was kind of askew was when the lightning did strike very close.
Yeah.
And
it was hairy at some points, but overall we were pretty positive all the way through.
Yeah.
I think we did. We didn't have any. I'm just F this, or let's just give up here. No, let's finish this. We started this, we finish it.
Yep.
Hallucination, there was none.
Unfortunately, there was none.
Oh, it was too short. The race versus the description, I think we gave it a 7. And
And you know what? Actually, I gave it around an 8 or a 9 because it's my fault that I didn't read it, and my fault that I didn't when I was thinking of September. Whenever I've heard about people running this race, and it just didn't click.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
It was. I think it was underplaying the technicality of the trail,
okay,
especially
number
when
one,
okay
it's called Flat Rock.
when it gets
Mm-mm.
wet. When it gets wet, this turns into an extremely technical trail.
It is, and I run
Um,
technical trails. I'm very pleased and
yeah,
happy that I can do this. This was a little bit when it
yeah,
got wet was a little bit more than
yeah, and but yeah, overall, it's a fun race. Maybe it's a good thing they underplay it.
yeah.
To get people to come out and try it and curse all the way in.
But it really is an up and down race. You're never flat. To
No,
me, and my when I hear the word flat rock, I think of the Lion King. Whenever Mufasa's holding up Simba, I expected to see something like that out there
we
eventually,
were
out of these
running on it.
ups and downs. I never saw it. So up and down. I mean, if
We
you weren't
pointed
going,
it out to you.
I did not see it up, and if
I
it's not
could have
up.
pulled you over the lake and said, "Behold, the mermaid."
I was busy doing what I was told, looking down, so I didn't fall. So if you're not going up, you're going down, right?
Yeah,
Kind of like Ricky
basically.
Bobby, because I watched that 2 nights ago. You know, if you're not first, you're last. That's pretty much it. If you're not going up, you're going down.
Um, yeah, but overall, I think the race is
It
just
was its description. It
it
was.
was
It really was. I
um,
like to kid around a lot, but it
yes,
actually was good.
swag, medal, and other stuff. Well, we got a gigantic buckle.
It's my face. Wear it as a
Yeah,
mask. I
and
tried putting this buckle on my belt buckle. No, it
no,
didn't work.
no, it's too much. And of
Oh,
course we got a
and here is
t-shirt.
the elevation profile, up or down.
Yeah, and we got a nice t-shirt. And this is where I take 1 point from the 10 because I've seen people wearing these shirts with an elevation map on the back. This one has not. What's up with that? I know most people will say that's my heart rate during the race. Probably.
I looked at my heart rate.
it's it's
Mine
the
was
same.
so steady. So anyway, more about this race is a good friend Tawny and her
Well, we're
what?
not done yet.
Oh, we're not.
No, the experience score
Oh, the experience course. Sorry about that. Now,
8.3. So this is good. 8.3 out of 10.
isn't that the highest?
No, it's
No,
not the highest, but it's good. It's very good. And it is a good race. I enjoyed it. So in our all UTI score, this
was
is
brought up.
just for our races, is 0.585.
C plus.
That's good. That's good. That's we still don't know what it means, but
Yeah.
it's in the middle. It's
Yeah.
in the middle, little over the middle. So that's it's a good race. We can talk more about it.
Okay, so I would like to do that at this point.
Okay.
So my friend Tawny, she's a real good friend of mine, and her husband Brian invited us out, and they're like, "Come on, we have this race. You know, you have fun. Y'all run all these long races. You know, we like to run stuff that are 2 and 3, and looking for that 400 mile." And I'm just like, we haven't ran a 100K in a long time. Let's go. So off we went, and I've got to say, I need to run more 100Ks. They are hard. It is
It's not
harder
easy.
to run 100K mentally, even mentally, than it is to run 300 or 400 miles, because you just keep going and going. Naturally, I turn off my watch. I don't even look. I change the screen, and it's like,
She
you know,
does. Yeah.
I don't even think about it. I just keep going and going and going. But here, you got to think about it. The
Yeah.
math is different.
And
Yeah, I'm used to having aid stations that are a marathon away, at a marathon, right?
about a
Yeah,
marathon.
barrel marathon. I am not used to every 3 miles. So Renee's like, we were like, all, oh my God, this is so awesome. He had bacon almost every 3 miles. And
Yeah. Keeping my calorie intake.
yeah, he kept his calorie intake up. It was, I'm
Had
first,
a few Cokes.
oh, and Renee became a man.
Yes.
So again, how long have we been running Ultra?
6 years.
6 years. 6 years. Do you know he's never had?
I had never had Fireball.
He had his
No.
first shot of Fireball.
and
which is schnapps, right? It is
no,
schnapps.
it's a cinnamon whiskey.
No, it is schnapps.
It's whiskey.
Schnapps.
Whiskey.
Schnapps.
Schnapps is 40%. This here was 7%.
This is the kind of stuff I would have had in college. I mean,
no, you would
I
not.
drank too much cinnamon schnapps
It's still whiskey
during Hell Week, and
Okay.
they gave me schnapps
Tell
flavored.
us in the comments.
Yeah.
It's Fireball,
It's schnapps.
or
It's schnapps.
whiskey.
I remember that.
But yeah, so that was the first time I had.
What'd you think of it?
It was okay.
It was okay.
It actually burns more than a regular whiskey because of the cinnamon.
It's because it's schnapps.
But keep in mind, this is a low alcohol whiskey, so it's 7% instead of the usual 30 to 40. Yeah, I had that at halfway point with my burger or beef patty. I didn't go for the bread, so yeah, so I had a good shot of Fireball there.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah. So some of the cool things on this race is you're running along and you're like, oh God, I'm going to go off a cliff. Oh, no. There's something called the Devil's Butt Crack. And it's like this, but there's a hole in it like this, and you got to climb down.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, you've got to climb up. And so some of the disgusting comments I heard were,
what?
About the Devil's Butt Crack, emerging from the Devil's Butt Crack.
Yeah.
I had never heard so many disgusting comments.
I'm going to squeeze through it again.
Now, it doesn't seem funny now, but it was funny at that moment.
Yeah. Well, it is a tricky one. It's definitely one where you have to keep your head around you to get up. And you have to just grab onto whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the rocks do get slippery when it gets wet.
Kind of reminded me, what was that, Pet Detective? And what, when what's his face comes out of the rhino's
yes,
butt?
Ace Ventura.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura.
Out of the hippopotamus butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another one called the Bowl, and we were like,
that's one of the tricky crosses.
It's one of the so you're like you're gonna fall down in this hole. And I thought you had to go up around the top. And that's where my friend, which I'm very proud of, that finished this race. It was his first race back after close to a year. He takes us around the top. Scott did. And there's like some sketchy, if you fall shell, you're going to cut your leg off with. So as the rain fell, I'm like, oh, hell no, I'll tell the race director. I went down to the bottom and climbed back up. Sure enough,
that is the real route.
Yeah, the blue rock was down there.
You don't have to make it more difficult than it is.
We could have done that the whole time.
And finally, let's talk about the bonus swag we got.
Yes.
So there's a 5K race as well. And they run 1.5 mile out and 1.5 mile back. And that is basically to the 1 mile marker on the trail, because there's 0.5 mile that's on the road from the start line. And there's no aid station for these poor people. So they have to prove that they went to the 1 mile marker. There was a little trinket they had to bring back to prove that they actually went to the 1 mile marker. And when we came back on our last loop and we passed it, we say, oh, there's still some left. Let's grab one. So you got
a dire wolf.
German Shepherd.
Dire wolf.
I got a fainting sheep.
Still not a fainting goat, though.
It's a fainting sheep.
Oh, it's got horns.
Yeah, it's
It's
sheep.
a ram.
No, it's just got big ears. This is the Dumbo version of a sheep. Yeah, so we got that.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it.
And you want to talk about the finish?
Oh, Tawny. We come in. We've been walking through all of this water, and we come in. We run the 0.5 mile on the road, and finally our shoes are kind of like dried out. And then we cross the finish line, and she's standing down the finish line, cowbelling us, and says, let's get you into the tent and warmed up. And then she walks through 4 inches of flooding in her nice rubber boots.
They were nice boots, okay?
But we are still in the running shoes, and now they're soaking wet again. Really, Tawny?
I thought it was great. I didn't mind getting
We
my
had
feet
so
wet
much
again.
fun.
Yeah,
And I would say that just because it's 100K, don't dismiss it.
right.
It can be tricky and fun.
Yeah, I dare anyone who is, all of us long distance runners, we need to go back to our roots. So my suggestion is to go and hit up FlatRock. They have a kind of a triple crown. We can put it up
Kansas
here.
Slam.
The Kansas Slam. I think that Renee, if you can put that up there.
Put that up there.
And so you can earn something. I do not know what it is, and I'm sorry, Tani, I should have researched that, but maybe she'll get down in the comments and tell you what you do, what's behind curtain number 1. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can sign up for next year's edition.
Yes.
Don't go for the September one. That's boring.
Yeah.
Go for
you want to go and get
go
wet.
for the one where the weather is unpredictable.
5 to 7 inches of rain.
Yeah. So yeah, great race.
Yeah.
Had fun.
And thank you for having us out. And we love Kansas, and we will be back.
And yeah, I'm definitely going to encourage other people to go and try this out. This was fun.
I've got a lot of people in mind.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for listening. This is our first of many race reports to come over the summer.
There we go.
All right.